Xie Wei rushed to the Tongzhou military camp, but the Yan family army did not trust him. It was not until he showed the letter left by Yan's father that Xie Wei's orders were followed. Outside Tongzhou city, Xue Dingfei clamored to enter the city, but Feng Mingyu insisted on dividing his troops into two groups to separate Jiang Xue Ning and Zhang Zhe. Although Jiang Xue Ning was unwilling, they both escaped. Zhang Zhe was unwilling to escape and insisted on going back to find Duke Xue. Xue did not listen to Zhang Zhe's attempts to stop him. Unexpectedly, he fell into an ambush and even Zhang Zhe's identity was exposed. Xue Dingfei was discovered by the Yan family army and quickly pointed Jiang Xue Ning to where Zhang Zhe was. They were all rescued and the rebels were defeated. Xie Wei said that he had asked for credit for Zhang Zhe. Xue Guigong looked for a doctor for Xue late at night, but Xie Wei was reminded of the time when King Pingnan held him hostage on the city wall, but Xue Guigong attacked him without mercy. The Yan family army asked Zhang Zhe to find out the truth about the theft of the Tongzhou military camp and restore the Yan family army's innocence. Xie Wei called Xue Dingfei and Xiaobao over to prepare for Jiang Xue Ning's birthday, and Xue Dingfei agreed to be at Xie Wei's disposal after returning. When Xue Guigong observed Xue Dingfei's movements, Xie Wei discovered him. Xie Wei said that there were some similarities between Xue Dingfei and Xue Guigong's eyebrows, but Xue Guigong did not look happy. After the mountain road was repaired, Xie Wei arranged for Xiaobao to stay in Tongzhou to observe the situation, while Xue Guigong arranged for a team of people to go down the mountain to attack Xie Wei and his party. However, Xie Wei arranged for the Yan family army to escort him first. They all returned to the capital. After learning that Zhang Zhe's mother passed away, Jiang Xue Ning rushed to Zhang's house. Zhang Zhe arranged the morning hall. As soon as Xie Wei arrived, he saw Jiang Xue Ning's distraught back and hurried over to look. Jiang Xue Ning would rather Zhang Zhe hated her, but she could not accept it. Her heart was pained, so she asked Xie Wei for a solution, but Xie Wei held her in his arms. He has been falling in love with her. Jiang Xue Ning arrived at Lu Mansion and learned about Yu Fangyin and Lu Xian getting married to cut her ties to her family. Xie Wei watched Jiang Xue Ning walk away, but could not express the love in his heart. He said that he did not use Jiang Xue Ning. When he was in Tongzhou, Jiang Xue Ning asked him if he was using everyone. This may be true for other people, but not for Jiang Xue Ning. When he went to court the next day, Zhang's father participated in Duke Xue's case of embezzlement of grain for disaster relief. Duke Xue denied it and accused him of false accusations. Zhang Zhe stood up at this time and presented the memorial showing that he was abusing his authority and almost ruined the mission to defeat the rebels. The emperor was furious after reading it. Jiang Xue Ning was forced to go deep into the enemy camp with Zhang Zhe. Xue Shu abused her power, fabricated rumors about the matter, and spread them throughout the city. Xie Wei also stood up and added more details to the many accusations. The emperor ordered Xie Wei and Zhang Zhe to investigate the case thoroughly. A war at the border had started. However, the treasury was too empty to fight a war. Duke Xue asked to lead the army, but Zhang Zhe stood up and opposed it. If he really wanted to fight Daiyue, Yan's father was the most suitable candidate. The emperor did not make an immediate decision. Xie Wei thought carefully and found out that Duke Xue had selfish motives for asking to lead the troops north this time. He also wanted to take the opportunity to welcome back the Yan family's father and son. Unexpectedly, Zhang Zhe also had this intention. Fueled by Xue Dingfei, public dissatisfaction with the Xue family arose. One night later, Xue Shu was named concubine Xian. Duke Xue was furious, and her aunt was even more furious. Jiang Xue Ning ran to beg Xie Wei to save Shenzi, but Xie Wei said that Shenzi's marriage was a foregone conclusion, so Jiang Xue Ning had to kneel down and plead and even said that no debts were owed to each other if he did this favor. Xie Wei was furious when he heard this, forced her to shut up, and raised her chin to warn her that he did not want to hear these words from Jiang Xue Ning a second time. On the day of the concubine selection, Jiang Xue was restless, and Xue came to watch with excitement. Shen Jie still betrayed Jiang Xue and gave her a rose representing a concubine. Jiang Xue was stunned, but she could only accept the flowers and thank him. Upon learning that Jiang Xue Ning was at the palace, Xue immediately took people to see her, but was surprised that she did not do anything to rescue the princess from the arranged marriage. Xue beat Jiang Xue Ning. Xie Wei was furious when he saw Jiang Xue Ning coming out after the beating, but he was worried about Jiang Xue Ning's health, hurriedly picked her up, and put her in the carriage. Jiang Xue Ning hugged the box left to her by the princess. It was the last thing Shen Zhe left for her. Outside the house, Xie Wei's carriage had arrived, and Jiang Xue Ning had fallen asleep. When Xie Wei held her to get out of the carriage, he could not help but kiss her. This scene happened to be seen by Zhang's father, who came outside to wait for her. Xie Wei was shocked when he learned that Jiang Xue Ning was planning to leave the capital. He could not help but ask her who the person she did not want to see was, and why she did not want to stay here. Jiang Xue Ning bit Xie Wei and ran away. Xie Wei fell ill after he returned, but there was no cure for the disease, so Lu Xian could only forcefully knock him out. Jiang Xue Ning once again dreamed of the scene in her previous life when she seduced Xie Wei in order to seek refuge. She was like Xue now, and would not end well. At the same time, Jiang Xue Ning told herself repeatedly that there was no way Xie Wei would like her when he hated her so much. After meeting Xie Wei, Jiang Xue Ning's mood became much brighter. Xue Ding insisted on following Xie Wei, but he had to stay and keep an eye on the Xue family. When they arrived at the inn, Xie Wei had already been waiting for her. Things in the capital had been taken care of. Jiang Xue Ning's purpose was only to bring Shen Zhe home. Assassins attacked on the road. Jiang Xue Ning and Xie Wei both fell off the carriage. In order to protect her, Xie Wei did not even care about his Qin, he hugged her and fled on horseback. Xie Wei forcibly held Jiang Xue Ning's hand and kissed her. The snow stopped and Xie Wei woke up. However, Jiang Xue Ning did not expect that Xie Wei still remembered what he had done. Dao Qin and Jian Shu finally found them, but found that the atmosphere between Jiang Xue Ning and Xie Wei was strange. The princess is rescued. Xie Wei and Yan Lin's father and son brought Shen Zhe back to the territory. Shen Zhe and Jiang Xue Ning had tears in their eyes when they met. Jiang Xue Ning was upset and wandered in front of Xie Wei's door. Jiang Xue Ning first thanked Xie Wei for rescuing Shen Zhe, and then asked him what he would do next. No matter which way he took, she was going to leave. Nevertheless, Xie Wei did not agree. Xie Wei took out a knife and put it in her hand, asking her to kill him. When the knife pierced Xie Wei's body, Xie Wei begged Jiang Xue Ning not to be afraid of him anymore. Jiang Xue Ning was stunned by Xie Wei's actions. Jiang Xue Ning was sad and was knocked unconscious by King Pingnan's people when she left the house. Xie Wei was injured. Although he was not seriously injured, he could not control his emotions after seeing the ransom note left by King Pingnan. Xie Wei surrenders himself to the rebels. Xie Wei told Jiang Xue Ning to find a place to hide and not to come out if she heard any noise. He also gave Jiang Xue Ning his knife for self-defense. He would definitely bring Jiang Xue Ning home safely. King Pingnan suddenly asked someone to bring Jiang Xue Ning up, saying that the incident in Tongzhou was because of Jiang Xue Ning, and he wanted to kill her. Xie Wei hurriedly protected Jiang Xue Ning, but it was Jiang Xue Ning who killed King Pingnan. Xie Wei asked her if she was still afraid of him, but Jiang Xue Ning was worried about the dangers in the capital. In fact, she had always wanted to ask Xie Wei whether he would rebel, but Xie Wei was surprised that Jiang Xue Ning cared so much about this. Xie Wei was going to leave tomorrow, and Shui Dingfei came to say goodbye. They had been tied together for 20 years, and they could be considered brothers. Xie Wei bid farewell to Xue Dingfei with tea instead of wine. The imperial edict was to reward the three armies and let the Yan army guard the border while Xie Wei escorted Shenzi back. Xie Wei called Jiang Xue Ning. They sleep together. Xie Wei proposed to marry Jiang Xue Ning, but received no answer from Jiang Xue Ning. Before dawn the next day, Xie Wei went to the army to discuss military matters. Jiang Xue Ning was so angry that he ran away. The Xue family kidnapped Yu Fangyin. Xue Yi surrounded Zhang Zhe, Xie Wei, and Yan Lin when they returned to the palace. The ministers were also held hostage by the Yu army. They had no weapons in their hands, and only Yan Lin and Jian Shu resisted. Yan Lin asked Jian Shu to take Xie Wei and Zhang Zhe to leave first. Lu Xian and Jiang Xue Ning took people to Xue's house to rescue Yu Fangyin. Zhou Yingji held Yu Fangyin hostage to save his life, but Yu Fangyin held Zhou Yingji back when he was escaping, but was stabbed by Zhou Yingji. She died, but he was killed for her death. Duke Shuiguo lost, but he still hated Xie Wei. No matter what, he was Xie Wei's biological father. Jiang Xue Ning hurried to the palace and was extremely frightened when she saw corpses everywhere. Duke Shui stabbed Xie Wei with an arrow, but was killed by Dao Qin. Xie Wei was hit by an arrow and fell into Jiang Xue Ning's arms. Jiang Xue Ning shed tears in fear, begging him to wake up, and promised to marry him as long as he woke up. Xie Wei woke up immediately after hearing this. The emperor's mother was exiled. Shueshu was poisoned. The Yan family was acquitted. Jiang Xue Ning and Xie Wei married and had 2 children in the book. After writing the completed chapters on the computer, Jiang Ning received the news that the company was going to publish her book as a paperback. Then she also met her new editor, Xie Wan. When the two met, they just felt like they had met before and had warm feelings.